this is a video that was going to be traps, but then turned out to like entail a few other things, I guess. But still, we're going to start with traps. You want to build traps so that if you get attacked, you don't need to have your dwarves get involved. They can just be torn apart by, you know, automated levers coming out of the floor and that sort of thing. So,
The deadly lever.
levers?
War
Spears, what am I saying? B for building, W for workshop, and this time we're getting a mechanics workshop, which is T apparently, T for mechanic. We're going to put it in this convenient hole that I did not dig for this purpose. And then, meanwhile, we're going to construct some blocks for unrelated reasons. They'll come into it later, but I mean, you don't really have to do this if you're following along, because you can do it when you understand why. That's fine. We need a mechanic though, somebody with the mechanic labour enabled. Mechanics don't really have to be good at their job, because all it does is increase the speed at which they work. They aren't actually, they aren't in any way quality affected by.
So traps can't do more damage.
Not based on the quality of a mechanism, no. Mechanisms, I think they do actually have quality, but only for,
aesthetic purposes, seriously.
yeah, exactly, and also, like, you could sell them, I guess, but they're kind of heavy, so they're not a good idea to sell.
This is a very pretty series of pulleys.
Yeah. Okay, so I took our useless fish cleaner, made him into a mechanic, and had him build a mechanics workshop. Then we're going to make some rock mechanisms. Let's make 5 of those, that'll do for now. Okay, so while he does that, we're also going to want some actual weapons to go in the traps. Now, you don't want them out of metal ordinarily, because they're good that way. But I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is make some menacing wooden spikes. Then I'm going to hope that they're actually the right type of trap, because I have thought of something that might mean that they're not. Okay, the mason's done making his blocks. So, at risk of making this confusing by combining things, we don't currently have any real entrance to put these traps in. And also we've run out of wood, so I'm going to designate some more trees. Once I'm done with that, we're going to construct an entrance, which we can then fill with traps. Okay, so B, buildings, capital C for construction. Then we're going to make a wall, which you place in the same way as a farm. You use UHKM to change the size, then you press enter. Then choose what to make it out of, which is blocks in this case. And then we're also going to, well, we're going to make this rectangular shape. Then we're going to hope that the chickens don't mind being left outside, because, yeah, they're kind of in the way right now. Now, only a mason will build constructions which are made out of stone, but it doesn't require any skill, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the mason's workshop, and we're going to go workshop profile, shift P. Now, we can only do this because we have a manager, but what we can say is that we only want this guy to be allowed to work there. And then we can tell these random people who know nothing about masonry that, hey, it's time to become a mason, but you're not allowed to use the workshop. And then, you know, they'll say, okay, I'm a mason now, what can I do? Can't use the workshop, and they'll go build walls. And there's no real downside to letting them build walls, there's no quality issue or anything, it's fine. Just gets the work done quicker. They're telling me that they've suspended the construction of the wall, but the wall is done, so I think they're lying. Oh no, there is a bit of wall that's not done apparently. But it's fine, we can just remove it, because I don't care, I didn't even mean to place that bit of wall. Right, so we've got an entrance. We need to actually build traps, and I don't remember how to do that, so... Okay, I've remembered how to do things now. We go B for building, Shift T for traps and levers. Then we've got a few options. We're going to use a couple of different ones. We're going to make a stonefall trap that uses a mechanism, and it just drops a stone on somebody. Simple. We're going to make a weapon trap, which uses a mechanism, and you need to have a weapon, which... I believe you can use actual weapons if you want to, or you can just use weapon trap. Weapon trap components, like a spike or a saw blade or something else. And you can choose how many to do. I've only got one, so I'm only going to make one, and then I'm going to just press D, done selecting. And you can also make cage traps, which I don't believe I have a cage, but apparently we don't need one, because we can put it down anyway. I guess I should make a wooden cage, just in case. Probably going to be necessary. And he's still making mechanisms, so we're good. Now I should mention that this whole entryway that I've done is not actually a good idea in any way. It's purely for the sake of showing off the fact that you can construct walls manually, which by the way automatically put a floor on the level above. And there are other constructions too, which I'll just quickly take a look at. You can place a floor, so we can put these here. We actually can't, because we don't have any way to get up there. So what we need to do first is put an up stair down here. Then we'd put a down stair up here. Down being D for once. And then we'd be able to walk up onto this little platform that we've got to put in a wall. There's also another type of wall, which is fortification. That doesn't automatically put a floor on the level above, and dwarves can see through it, and most importantly can fire through it with crossbows. Okay, so we've got a cage trap placed. It's there, it says cage trap. We can use T to have a look at it. It's got an oaken cage inside it. I don't remember when I got that or made that, but it's there anyway. And now we've got a weapon trap, menacing maple spike in it. Now traps won't affect your dwarves and they won't affect your animals unless they fall asleep on them, or possibly if they are enraged. But for the most part it's safe. Just keep an eye on it, and it should be okay. But okay, we've got these traps, and we don't think that they're good enough, because we're whiny and demanding. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to extend this wall some more. And then some more, because it's still not enough. Awkward. And there's a horse stood in the way of that wall, but he'll move eventually. Okay, wall is nearly done. Still going to extend it a couple more. Just need a few more blocks. And then a few more after that, because I just remembered what else I need. And we're getting low on stone, so let's designate some more stone to be dug. Anyone who has actually played before may be looking at my idle number and mocking me, but this is not a viable fortress. I wouldn't suggest that anyone emulate me at all. Let's make a wood stockpile in this corridor so that we don't store our wood outside. That's a reasonable idea. It's not a reasonable idea, I'm lying. What I should really do is get a dedicated wood stockpile, but it's just not gonna happen. I'm extraordinarily lazy. That guy just took a chicken out of the pen and put him outside. And now he's doing it again. I wish he would stop.
Peter.
Nice. Okay, so we've got this this corridor. I'm going to designate a channel at the end of it. And what a channel does is digs out the floor, and also digs out the area below it into, well, a ramp, as it turns out, but that's no, it didn't used to be a ramp. And then I'm going to dig out a bit more channel, and hopefully not trap my miner outside. This is the sort of thing you need to be careful about generally. And we're going to remove this up ramp, which is Z apparently. There we go, so now nothing can get in or out. Which is, you know, cool, if you don't want things to get in or out, obviously. But what if we want to do better than that, which we do, obviously. We're going to build a bridge. Now that's B for building, G for bridge, G. And then we can change the direction that it raises in. Now, I don't actually remember how to do this exactly. Let's not make it raise in a direction at all. Let's just keep pressing buttons until it's a retracting bridge. That's a good idea. And then we're going to use UMKH to size it. We want it here. And we're going to make it out of blocks. Now we need an architect to confirm the construction. So we're going to pick some random guy to become an architect. Or Dwarf Fortress could just stop responding, that would be fine. Turns out it was the autosave between seasons. Should have really been more aware of what time it was, I guess. Which leaves little time, so let's get on with this. We need an architect, which, you know, it's a complicated job. People go to work for a long time to become an architect, and by work I mean university, I guess. Whatever, I don't know what I'm saying.
So what you're saying is you're going to give him about 14 seconds training?
I'm not going to give him any training, I'm just going to tell him you're an architect now. Which is in the other jobs section.
Well, seeing as his job description seems to be go to a bunch of other unqualified people and say, that's alright, yeah, that's fine, continue that. I think that's pretty much good.
Okay, so the architect, he's bringing stone to actually build it, because that's what architects do, apparently. It used to be that the architect just looked at it, said, yes, alright, and then somebody else would build it, but not anymore. Now the architect carries the building materials, and then a mason actually builds it. Okay, so our bridge is built, but currently we can't actually do anything with it. So what we're going to do is B, Shift T for traps and mechanisms, then we're going to set up a lever. And that lever can be here, because I'm stupid. Now we need to wait for a mechanic to bring the mechanism and put it there. I think he may be having a little sleep. No, he's here, he's doing his job. Okay, now we've got a lever, right. It's not connected to anything, it doesn't do anything. I don't remember how to make it do things. Okay, turns out I should have just looked at my screen where it said add new task, and then I should have checked there. Link up a bridge. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to press B to link to that bridge. Press enter to choose the bridge. We don't have enough mechanisms. You need 2 to link. I forgot. So let's make another mechanism. Mechanic, do everything. We're going to stare intently at him while he makes a mechanism. Very slowly. Okay, he's done. Good. Now we're going to link to a bridge. Choose which bridge, which mechanisms. And off he goes, hopefully. Hopefully he's going off. Yep, there he is. First he needs to go to the bridge. I'm going to need to do something about this whole animal thing. I'm going to remove the zones outside of this area so that nobody keeps taking animals out. This is where the animals live now. Okay, the mechanic is now attaching a mechanism to the lever. And then, because dwarves have perfected quantum entanglement, that's all that's required. There doesn't need to be a physical link between the two. And now we can do add a task, pull the lever, shift P. Somebody should come up here and pull that. The mechanic's doing it. But again, mechanic, do everything. And look, the bridge is gone. Can't walk over it now. Pretty much an unstoppable defense against most enemies. Even things that can fly, currently, I don't believe know that they can fly, so they won't automatically path over obstacles. Then we can shift P to pull the lever again, bringing it back. There will be lots of other uses for mechanisms and more complicated trap work later, but for now, this is what you need. So we're done.